He's annoying. He's violent. He won't shut up. He breaks the fourth wall like it owes him money. He's a walking meme with katanas and a healing factor. He's dead, and somehow he became one of the most beloved characters in Marvel history. But behind the jokes, behind the red suit, there's pain, real pain. Because Deadpool wasn't born funny. He was made broken, rebuilt, and left with nothing but a twisted sense of humor and a mountain of regrets. He's not a hero. He's not a villain. He's something in between. An anti-hero who kills, heals, laughs. Chris Evans still finds time to mock the narrator. Deadpool doesn't care about the rules of comics, of morality, of physics. He'll slice a bad guy in half and then wink at the camera. And somehow, it works. Because underneath the chaos is a man who's just trying to matter. To be remembered. To feel human, even if he doesn't look it. So if you think Deadpool is just the guy who makes fart jokes in red spandex, think again. This is the story of Wade Wilson. The mercenary. The mutant. The man who turned pain into punchlines and never stopped laughing through the blood. And the truth is, he wasn't supposed to survive. Not the experiments, not the cancer, not the comics. Deadpool was a side character, a parody, a hitman with a mouth and a mask. But he clawed his way into the spotlight. With blades, with jokes, with pain. He made the audience love him by making them uncomfortable. Because his story isn't just funny. It's tragic. It's brutal. It's hell. Wade Wilson is what happens when you take a man with nothing left to lose and give him just enough power to survive, and enough pain to hate it. He's the clown with a scarred face, the killer with a broken heart, and the punchline that never ends. So let's peel back the red suit. Ignore the sarcasm and look at the man beneath the madness. Because to understand Dead, you have to meet Wade Wilson. And trust us, he's not what you expect. Before Deadpool, there was just Wade. No mask, no cancer, no healing factor. Just a guy trying to survive in a world that never played fair. Wade Wilson didn't come from greatness. He came from trauma. Raised by an abusive father, left behind by a broken home. He ran. Joined the military. Learned to kill. Got really good at it. But the war outside matched the one inside. Wade wasn't stable. He was angry, sarcastic, quick with a joke but quicker with a bullet. After the military, he became a mercenary. Cheap, ruthless, effective, but not heartless. Because buried deep beneath the blood and violence was a man who still wanted love, who still believed in something. That's when he met Vanessa. And for a moment, he was happy. He had a life, a chance. Then everything collapsed. A diagnosis, cancer stage 4, inoperable, unstoppable. And suddenly, the man who survived everything was dying. Fast he didn't want to go, not like this. Not when he finally had something to lose. So when a mysterious recruiter offered him a cure, he said yes. And that's when everything changed. Because Wade Wilson didn't just agree to treatment, he signed up for hell. The program promised miracles. It delivered monsters. Wade was tortured, experimented on, broken down cell by cell. They triggered his mutation, awakened his healing factor, but at a price. His body was saved. His mind, not so much. And his face, unrecognizable, burned, scarred, twisted beyond repair. He looked like a corpse that never died. And maybe that see what happened, because Wade Wilson, the men died in that lab. What crawled out was Deadpool, and he was done playing by the rules. He escaped, left behind ashes, and started hunting the people who made him. But he didn't come back as a hero. He came back angry, broken, unfiltered. He wore red so the blood wouldn't show. He cracked jokes so the pain wouldn't. He became a merc again. But this time, he chose his targets. Corrupt CEOs, traffickers, evil scientists. The worst of the worst. Because somewhere, deep down, Wade was still in there. Still fighting. Still bleeding. Still trying to do the right thing. Even if he had to kill 10 people to do it. Deadpool wasn't just born in pain. He was forged in it. And that pain became his power. The Weapon X program promised hope, but delivered horror. It wasn't about curing Wade. It was about creating weapons. killers, mutants that could heal, fight, obey. And Wade, he became their perfect experiment. They didn't just treat his cancer. They tortured him, put him through trials designed to break him, cut him open, left him in darkness, fed him lice. Day after day, he died. And day after day, he healed, each time slower, each time angrier, until the pain wasn't just physical. It was mental. Weapon Chiefs didn't want survivors. They wanted monsters. And Wade Wilson was becoming one. But even monsters have breaking points. His mind snapped. Reality shattered. Voices started. Sarcasm became armor, and jokes became weapons. He laughed to stay sane, or maybe to forget that he wasn't anymore. Eventually, he escaped, flew the place sky high, and walked out of the fire smiling because they gave him what they didn't mean to. Freedom, power, and a reason to kill with purpose. The man they tried to erase became a name no one could ignore. Deadpool, the merc with a mouth, with a body that won't die, and a soul that refuses to heal. His escape wasn't clean. He left trails of blood, of broken bodies, of failed experiments. Some begged for help, others tried to stop him. He didn't care. He was done being their toy, done being afraid. And as the facility crumbled behind him, Wade Wilson disappeared. Only Deadpool remained, and he wasn't looking for redemption. He was looking for revenge. Against the people who used him, against the world that forgot him, against the pain that wouldn't stop. But he didn't become a villain, not completely. Because Deadpool still had rules. His own twisted moral code. He'd take any job but not against the innocent. He'd kill but never for fun. Well, maybe just a little. He became Legend, a gun for hire who cracked jokes while pulling triggers, a walking contradiction. He could be your worst nightmare or your last hope, depending on the price, depending on the target, depending on how many tacos you promised afterward. Weapon X tried to erase Wade Wilson, but they created Deadpool instead. And now, they can't undo it. Because some monsters don't hide. They wear red, carry swords, and never shut up. Deadpool wasn't born in a lab. He was born in the aftermath, in the wreckage of Wade Wilson's life. He didn't choose the name. It came from a bet, a Deadpool, a game among mercs predicting who would die next. Wade was always the top pick, so he owned it, made it his identity, his badge of honor. If he was going to die, he'd do it on his terms, with a laugh and maybe a chim. But Deadpool wasn't just a mask. He was a reaction to pain, to betrayal, to a world that never gave Wade a break. He made the world laugh first before it could hurt him again. And the louder he joked, the more he hid the scars. He became a merc again, but this Chimi, he chose the chaos. He worked solo, drove his clients crazy, and still got the job done. Because under the madness, Deadpool was brilliant, fast, deadly, unpredictable. And while his body healed, his mind stayed broken. He'd talk to himself. To the reader, two voices no one else heard. And that made him dangerous, because Deadpool knew he was in a comic. And he didn't care. He became the glitch in the system, the anti-hero that broke every rule. He'd team up with heroes one day and annoy them to death the next. Wolverine hated him. Spider-Man barely tolerated him. Cable, let's not even start. But somehow, fans loved him because Deadpool was real. He didn't pretend to be noble or perfect. He was just trying to get through the day, trying to survive a world that turned its back on him. And in doing so, he became more human than most heroes. He saved lives, but in his own way. G-Magi jokes, but they cut deep. He mocked death because he lived it. And behind every gag was a man screaming for peace. Deadpool knew he couldn't die, but he could lose. And he did, over and over again. Friends, lovers, pieces of himself. But he kept going, because somewhere in all that madness, there was still Wade Wilson. Still fighting, still hurting, still hoping that maybe, just maybe, he could do some good. Or at least, leave a bloody, hilarious mess trying Deadpool is chaos wrapped in red. But he's more than a joke. He's a mirror of pain, of survival, of what it means to lose everything and still keep going. He's the guy who makes fun of the world because the world never made sense to him. And in that laughter, there's truth. Raw, ugly, honest. He talks to the Retta not for fun, but because he knows we're watching. He knows we're just as lost sometimes. And through all the blood, all the insanity, he reminds us that broken people can still be heroes. That scars don't mean the story's over. That pain doesn't kill you, it shapes you. Deadpool matters because he's messy, flawed, brutal, and still here. Still trying. He's what happens when trauma meets power. When comedy hides tragedy. And when the fourth wall breaks so we can see ourselves. He doesn't wear the mask to scare. He wears it to hide from the pain, from the past, from what's left of Wade Wilson. But even with all that, he still fights, still saves, still laughs. And that's heroic in its own twisted way. Deadpool challenges what a hero looks like. He doesn't fit the mold, doesn't follow the code. And yet he protects. He defends. He chooses right, even when it's messy. Even when it costs him. Because deep down, he remembers what it felt like to be powerless, to be dying, to be forgotten. And now that he can't die, he refuses to let others suffer the same way. He's not trying to be the best. He's just trying to be better than yesterday. And that makes him relatable. Because we've all wanted to give up. We've all used laughter to hide the pain. We've all worn masks. And Deadpool, he just never takes his off. Not because he can't, but because sometimes it's easier that way. But don't be fooled by the jokes. Behind the chimichangas and bullets is a man still searching for purpose, still learning how to live with what he's become. And that's why he matters. Because Deadpool shows us that healing doesn't mean erasing the past. It means owning it and fighting anyway. Deadpool is chaos. He's tragedy in a punchline, a killer with a conscience, a survivor who never got closure. But maybe that's the point. He's not here to be perfect. He's here to be real, raw, unfiltered. He's the guy who lost everything and somehow made it funny, who fights for people even when he can't stand himself, who saves the day even when he breaks it first. Because Deadpool isn't about the win, he's about the fight, the stubborn, bloody, hilarious fight to keep going, to keep laughing, to keep leaving. And if that's not heroic, what is? So next time someone tells you Deadpool is just a joke, remind them that sometimes jokes are how we survive. And the loudest laugh comes from the deepest pain. If you enjoyed diving into the chaotic life of Wade Wilson, smash that like button, subscribe for more origin stories, and drop a comment. What's your favorite Deadpool moment? And remember, no matter how broken you feel, you can still be a badass in red. Because at the end of the day, Deadpool teaches us that broken doesn't mean finished. It means complicated. And complicated. Is human. He turned trauma into a weapon, sarcasm into armor, pain into purpose. And no matter how many bullets he takes, he gets up, he keeps fighting, and he keeps making us laugh when we need it most.